Gorilla versus wolf. Who would win? You always hear tips about what you should do if you come across a wild animal. Play dead, don't make eye contact, make yourself appear big, close your eyes and pray that you wake up from a dream because that's your only chance. It's different for every animal, but there are many animals out there that are extremely dangerous to humans. But what about with regards to each other? What if we took two dangerous animals and introduced them to one another? What if we created our own battle? Gorilla versus wolf. Who would win? Gorilla. Let's start with the gorilla, an ape which we are so similar to. After chimpanzees and bonobos, the gorilla is the most closely related ape to us, sharing 98% of the same genomes. But that doesn't mean it's okay to be in the direct vicinity of a gorilla, far from it. Just to be sure which gorilla we are talking about, let's explore the different kinds. All gorillas descended from one type of gorilla. However, during the Ice Age, the forest habitats of this gorilla shrank and also became two separate, distinct habitats. After isolating the two habitats, the gorillas in each habitat adapted and developed differently. We now have two species of gorilla, the western gorilla and the eastern gorilla. Within the western gorilla species are two subspecies, the cross-river gorilla and the western lowland gorilla. Within the eastern gorilla species are two subspecies as well, the mountain gorilla and the eastern lowland gorilla. Now, what do you think of when you think of a gorilla? A huge ape. And the biggest of all is the eastern lowland gorilla. So let's go with that guy. He's the largest gorilla, the largest ape, the largest primate. Well suited for battle, yeah? The eastern lowland gorillas have a bit of disparity between the males and females. Females are typically around 5.2 feet tall and weigh between 150 to 200 pounds. But it's the males that hold the title of largest primate. They are at least 5 feet 7 inches tall, and usually they stand as tall as 6 feet and 5 inches. They also will typically weigh up to 460 pounds. Think of an athlete in the best shape that you can imagine with raw power and then double it again, and still you won't have even come close to the power of a gorilla. Gorillas are 10 times stronger than the average human. Their massive arms would destroy a person if they wanted to. The force behind an eastern lowland gorilla's punch is enough to shatter the skull of a human. So if you're in Africa and come across this gorilla, whatever tip they give you to not provoke the gorilla, do that. All gorillas are found in Africa, and the eastern lowland gorilla is found primarily in the eastern portions of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Yes, you will find them in lowlands, just as their name suggests. However, they aren't averse to mountainous regions. In fact, the eastern lowland gorilla has the widest altitudinal range of any subspecies of gorilla. They're quite adaptable animals. You'll typically find them living amongst the trees, whether that's a tropical forest, subtropical forest, dense primary forests, moist woodlands, or even swamps and peat bogs. Gorillas stay in large groups, and though you see this massive, dangerous animal staying in a large group, you may think they hunt in their big groups, but the gorilla is no hunter. In fact, the majority of a gorilla's diet is plant matter, leaves, stems, fruits, things of that nature. They will occasionally eat ants and other insects, but this is a minuscule portion of their diet. Despite all of this, gorillas still have an incredible bite force, 1300 psi. That's stronger than the jaws of the strongest bear, the polar bear. Why does the gorilla need such a strong bite if he isn't going to use it? Maybe to defend himself. He is large, but that doesn't mean he has no predators. Brave leopards and crocodiles may sometimes try to prey on gorillas, but that doesn't work out well in most scenarios. In addition to the gorilla being able to battle these foes away, he is also an excellent climber, able to jump into the trees and avoid dangerous animals on the ground in a flash. And believe it or not, gorillas are amazingly fast, hitting speeds of up to 25 miles per hour and being able to keep that speed up for a considerable amount of time. So the gorilla is strong and fast, an excellent tree climber, and he can battle away his foes of leopards and crocodiles often. What about his new opponent, the wolf? Wolf. We humans are not closely related to the wolf. We also don't want to be too closely positioned to them. Yet another animal that would cause plenty of problems for us. Now, there are many kinds of wolves, so we should narrow it down to one particular type. We chose the largest gorilla, so let's choose the largest wolf. And that would be the grey wolf. Grey wolves are definitely not found in Africa, so they wouldn't have encountered any gorillas yet. But they're found all over the northern hemisphere. They're in the US, Canada, Greenland, much of Europe including Sweden, Finland and Norway, and they range through much of Asia, including large populations all throughout Russia. They'll live in tundras, woodlands, grasslands, forests, and even mountains. These are some highly adaptable canines. Wolves live in big families just like gorillas. However, they differ because they hunt with their pack. Wolves are pack hunters and they are endurance predators. Unlike a lion or tiger which hopes to creep up close to its prey and ambush it, grey wolves just give chase to their prey. They expect their prey to run away and they don't care. They know, the marathon runners that they are, they will outlast most animals. They will continue to chase the prey until the prey gives up or slows down, exhausting itself, not only too slow to get away, but too weak to put up a good fight. Grey wolves can run between 31 to 37 miles per hour. Usually those speeds will be in short bursts, but they still keep up fairly fast speeds for incredibly long distances. Depending on where they live, wolves may hunt and eat elk, deer, caribou, beavers, bison, and moose. You may be thinking, hold on, a lot of those animals sounded to be much larger than a wolf, especially a bison or a moose. That's right, the grey wolf will usually be about 6.5 feet long. The females can get up to 120 pounds, and the males can weigh up to 180 pounds. And so much of that 180 pounds is muscle, built for endurance. A grey wolf also has a bite force of 1200 psi. It's a bite strong enough to break through bones, even thick bones, like a moose's thigh bone. So even though a moose will likely weigh over 1,000 pounds and could reach 1,500 pounds, the grey wolf pack will still take him down. As mentioned, they chase him, tire him out, and then with their muscular bodies, they pounce. They deliver devastating bites. In addition to doing topical damage, as mentioned, they can shatter bones. It doesn't matter how big the prey is, at that point, there won't be much that they can do. They are strong individuals, but they also rely on teamwork and their intelligence. They communicate with each other in a few ways, through facial expressions, posture, tail movement, and even through smell. When hunting down their prey, they are excellent communicators, and they are able to deploy a strategy that allows them to trap and track down their prey. Because of this, a pack of wolves is so dangerous, as they operate like one military unit. But this military unit hasn't yet met the likes of an eastern lowland gorilla. Primate, canine, meetup. Like we said, eastern lowland gorillas and grey wolves would never have crossed paths. They occupy different countries, different continents. But they're both adaptable, they're both found in forests, in mountains. Why couldn't they occupy the same space? Maybe because if they did, a battle would break out. Now, we immediately see that the gorilla has a massive size advantage over the wolf. Granted, if we have a 6'5" gorilla and a 6.5-foot long wolf, you can argue about the similarities in those lengths. And you'd be right. The two animals are shaped differently, they stand differently, but they're comparable in that sense. But our wolf that is maxed out at 180 pounds, and though he has much muscle mass developed for hunting, he falls in comparison to the 460-pound gorilla. The gorilla is more than 2.5 times heavier than the wolf, also made up of a lot of muscle. Though the gorilla isn't built for endurance, for hunting, any of that sort of stuff, he is built to protect himself against predators, and we know he has immense strength. He's battled crocodiles and leopards. He's won sometimes, not every time. So, it's safe to say we don't know what would happen if he battled a grey wolf. Here's the thing, we'd give the gorilla a big advantage if it was 1 versus 1. He moves nimbly and has amazing speed, even if it pales in comparison to that of the wolf. The wolf can hit speeds 10 miles per hour more, but the gorilla can jump into the trees and use those to his advantage, as the wolf will be restricted to the ground. If we are in an area with trees, the gorilla gets even more of an advantage. If we were in an area with few trees, the wolf would use his speed and cunning, chasing down the gorilla, circling him, lunging at him for precision bites. Advantage builds for the wolf. However, the gorilla still owns that advantage. If he lands any punches, they will do intense damage. If either the gorilla or the wolf sinks their powerful jaws into the other, they both can exert fantastic force, so neither one is going to be happy as the recipient. Astoundingly, the gorilla's bite force of 1300 psi is greater than the wolf's bite force of 1200 psi, and he's not even a hunter. However, we're splitting hairs. Anything over 500 psi is going to hurt a lot. But an important thing to note here is that the gorilla and the wolf both stay in large groups most of the time. The gorillas, however, may stray a bit from the group from time to time. This is rare for wolves, especially when they're in hunting mode. Most likely, if a grey wolf is going to come across a gorilla, he's going to have at least one buddy with him. And now we have the military group, highly intelligent, able to communicate and exact a plan, able to circle the gorilla, force him into a corner. Two mouths able to deliver powerful blows with razor-sharp teeth. Two bodies with powerful muscles built to take down elk and moose. If it's two grey wolves, as would be quite likely, Team Wolf gets the advantage back. Amazingly, it still wouldn't be a done deal. These two wolves collectively are still outweighed by the one gorilla, and that gorilla still possesses head-shattering punches packed within his mighty fists. The wolves have powerful bodies, but they don't have the dexterity and maneuverability that a gorilla has with his arms. Wolves cannot punch or swing their arms like a gorilla can. The gorilla possesses that attack, along with his ferocious bite. The other important thing to note is that wolves are hunters and gorillas are not. So when this battle goes down, it will likely have been initiated by the wolf or wolves. The gorilla will be on the defensive. That's not to say a defensive battle style couldn't win. Just ask the crocodiles and leopards of Africa. Many of them sadly know that answer. All in all, we'd expect two or more wolves to have the advantage, but the gorilla is so impressively strong, it still wouldn't be a done deal. And if it's a one-on-one battle, bet your money on the gorilla. You'll have far better odds at getting a payout. He's just so much to handle. Then again, don't be upset with us if you happen to lose your money on that bet. The grey wolf is no chihuahua. He is the largest living canine, and he takes down moose and bison just to quench his hunger. He's a formidable opponent. He may be an underdog, but he's still a dog, and that dog's got some fight in him.